Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Thursday, January the 17th. This will be our chart lesson for today. Before we get started, just a quick kind of heads up. I've gotten a couple of emails about it, and so just so you're not confused and think I'm crazy, Pat's Trading has been the name of the YouTube channel where we keep our videos, and I just arbitrarily opened a Gmail account, and when I did it immediately changed the name of my YouTube channel to the name of my Gmail account. And I tried to change it back and it won't allow me. It says that they have some rule that if you have a Gmail account, you have to use the name in your Gmail account for the name of your channel. And I don't quite get it. It doesn't make sense. But I hope it doesn't screw people up. But in case you're wondering if you're in the right place, if you notice, the name of the channel now is Ken Mac. And so so I didn't do it on purpose, and I can't change it back. And I may contact Google just to see, or YouTube, just to see if there's something else that I can do to change it back, because it doesn't make sense. I mean, when it was Pat's Trading, it made perfect sense for price action. Naming the channel my name makes absolutely no sense to me. So anyway, I'll look into it, but it's not that big a deal. Everything's still there. I think it still comes up when you Google Pat's Trading. And but if you're just wondering why, it wasn't something I did intentionally. It just happened, and I can't seem to change it back at this point. So unless unless there's some workaround. But when I went to read the rules, it kept telling me to look at the rules of I was trying to do something illegal by changing it back. And when I looked at the rule, it says that you must use your personal name of your Gmail account. And so anyway, enough about that, but just so you're not caught off guard and wondering what happened. Didn't do it on purpose, just something that happened, and I can't seem to correct it. So for now, we'll just live with it. But let's talk about the trades. Just to show you, we opened up, or during the overnight, we had this channel working up. It got really overheated to the upside, and so had a fairly nice correction. The market opened right in here somewhere on this move down, and they had this little fake out right here that faked people to the short side, and then it reversed. And so this was a great little setup right here, but I'll talk about this one as well. But let me show you this also. This was the first leg down, then you had a little two-legged correction, and then you want to look for another equal leg down. And you can see that we came up about a tick or so short. So it's really a nice two-legged correction. And what you'll see a lot of times when you get a two-legged correction after a big move is that you'll want to look for another leg of equal, wrong thing there. You'll want to look for another leg of about an equal move. And we didn't get anywhere near that, but that's what I think, or was thinking that we were shooting for. But we also had this channel, and to get there by that channel, we would have had to really move a lot quicker than we were moving. So that led me to believe that once we had this trend line break and we got a few legs up to a new high, that we were probably going to correct and sell off. And another clue was when we overshot this channel. And you can see that's a fairly clear channel that we're working up there. And then we overshot it. We had this reversal pattern, nice place to go short here. But let's talk about each of the trades. But that was, I mean, this is the kind of thing you got to be thinking right here when you saw this first leg and then you get a bigger correction. You got to be thinking that, hey, we may be heading up to make another leg equal to that. And we still could turn higher here and go up and go test that area. But really, generally, you're going to see it in the same day. That's what we were kind of looking for, but it didn't happen. But that's why I tell people to follow the price action. And it was really tempting, once you saw these two legs in here to start, especially right here, since you kind of had a double top. I got a lot of emails today. People ask me, hey, are you looking for a short here? No, not, although one could set up like it did up here, not really, but simply because we don't have a new high. That's pretty close. That could be considered a, let's just see. That's a perfect double top. So that's good enough to be a retest. But what I would tell you to look at is look at all of this. Look at all this overlap. Look what the market's doing. It's still making higher highs and higher lows. And so until you get some type of reversal pattern, and this is right here is not a reversal pattern. We should have come off that more like this. This is a reversal pattern. And this is not a reversal pattern here either. And I guarantee you some of you got tricked in here because I got emails when it was in here. Do you think we've topped out? You think we're reversing? And then we run, and then but no, we ran up for another high. But this is a reversal pattern. We got the overlap, then we got a failed break higher. We tested it again. It's a nice, clear double top. Nice place to be thinking about possibly going short because we did have the trend line break. And notice what else, too. You will see this a lot. You got one push, correction. Second push up, correction. Third push up, and they're kind of equal moves. Here's the first push up, and then you got your second one, which went a little further. But look at this. I showed this the other day. Generally, if you get a three-legged move and the one in the middle is bigger, the final leg is going to be like the first leg. And you can see that. There's leg one. And then guess what? Leg two is exactly to the tick the same size, or the third leg rather. And you'll see that a lot. So just be aware of that. That's another way to look for your target right here. And then guess what? After that, we started correcting, but we also had to overshoot here. So there were a couple of different reasons to be thinking short. So make sure you pay attention to that. But now let's go talk about the trades. We had this nice uptrend channel. And the way I got my line right here was I simply drew this line first and drug it down. You can see those are identical lines. And I just kind of placed it in here. I'm thinking that's more it right there. And I just kind of placed it in here where we got most of the touches right there. And I believe that's the channel. We got the break. And then we got the little, again, a reversal pattern here. We got like a double bottom with a failed break lower that reversed, closed on its high. Great place to go long. And, the good thing is any runners would have likely survived here. It really depends on how you entered this. If you waited to go here, then they didn't. But if you were with aggressive one, your runners should have been safe, right? And you could have ridden this all the way to the top today. But I want to talk about this one. I drew this one in green. Again, you got this first leg, a little two-legged correction, and then a second leg. And this was the first break, so we're looking for a long. You got this little bitty doji. You got a chance to get long right there above it. And, you got a 2-3 tick stop to get a tick, maybe even at the most a point to get a couple of ticks below it. Very low risk entry when you're looking for a reversal. It was good for a scalp. They came back and run the stops, and they'll do that a lot of times. And they'll trick everybody and get them to thinking short, and they'll scare out the longs. And then guess what? That's when they reverse it for the real move. So I love these kind of setups right here where you got these matching lows, and it'd probably be easier. You can't really, it's not real clear there without the line, but you watch when I put the line across there. And I like to make mine a little wider where you can see it. And now that's very clear that that's a little failed break lower and a reversal. And that's a perfect setup. That's a nice trap. And what they do is they trap, look how bearish that looks. They trap a lot of shorts in right here. But at the same time, they run all the long stops. People that got long earlier, or people that might have been long from here, when it goes lower than that, they think we're going to make another leg down like this off of here, and it scares them out. So they scare out the longs, and they trap in the shorts, and so when it reverses, that's why it suddenly burst higher like that. And a lot of times you'll see it, but here's the real burst move where they started hitting the stops. And what'll happen is all these shorts have their stops right in here. And then because if it turns, they know they're trapped. And at the same time, everybody that got trapped out that was long, that got forced out, has to rejoin, and they start chasing it up again, and it makes it run. You get a nice run higher, and that's what causes that. And then, you know, I started getting the emails right here. Hey, we're at the top. We're at the top. And no. We haven't retested this high. I mean, we could start trending down from there, but the odds are we're going to make another leg up, and we're probably going to get a new high, especially after a move like that. There's a good chance you might even get another leg like that. So you got to be thinking that. But the best thing to do is just follow the price action. Don't start looking for shorts. I mean, you can tell that's not a reversal pattern. That's not a reversal pattern. That's not a reversal pattern. This is what a reversal pattern looks like. You start to get something like this, and then maybe one more push up, and it fails, and then you get some real clear movement, and you can see that right there. That's just overlap, just more congestion. And so until you get a reversal pattern after a trend line break and the retest, just stay with the longs. Stay with the trend. If it's going down, you'd be still looking for shorts. Just reverse that idea. So, but anyway, explain these two, and then you got a pullback right here. Again, what you got here is you've got these matching lows, kind of a double bottom, and we break lower. This is almost a very similar pattern here with that little trap. And once again, it reverses, closes on its high. When it didn't go higher right here, that was a little suspect, but still, this is a pretty good, you know, most of these moves are going to set up during a pullback to the EMA. We're not anywhere close to testing. Well, I wouldn't say we're not anywhere close, but we haven't tested that high, so it's a good chance there's going to be at least a measured leg like that. And this was the more aggressive move, but it is a good move because it's that failed break, it's that trap. But if you didn't enter there, you definitely had to enter here when you went higher and pulled back. That's like the little breakout pullback long from this little overlap right here. And again, it still took it a little while to work out of there. You got these highs that you're trying to break above, but it worked on higher and then finally got some momentum and went on. We had another entry right here, a little two-legged pullback, first entry long, and then you got that trap right there, a failed second entry short that reverses, closes on its top. Great place to get long. And by this time, you should have drawn this trend line off here and drug it up, and you got to be thinking, hey, we haven't tested this high. We haven't touched the upper side of this possible trend channel. And sure enough, we ran on up. And this is where you would have looked to possibly exit any of these entries right in here. You don't necessarily have to exit this with all the overlap because that's, you know, that's not really reversal type stuff. But generally, once you hit this side, you're going to come back and test the other side. So, you know, what I did was I just exited right before we got to this trend channel line. That's the way I like to do it, and then I look to re-enter. And then guess what? You come down here, you got a new low, you try to go lower, you fail, you turn up. A lot of overlap right here. But once you get these little two-legged pullbacks to the EMA, they very rarely fail, and this is an uptrend. So this is a trade. Again, I'm actually going to change this to green because it's a little more aggressive because of all the overlap, and you can get trapped in all that overlap. So, but if you didn't take that, you weren't going to get into this last move up. But it does fit the criteria, especially with that little one tick lower right there that turned because it's a trap. And you've really got a failed second entry because there's one leg down, a little pullback, a second leg down. This would have been the second entry. It fails, tries to go higher, it fails, but then it tests that again. So that's a double bottom right at the EMA. And that's basically what this is. But when you've got a good trend going and you haven't had any reason for it to reverse yet, you know, that double bottom, the fact there, with the fact that it's a two-legged pullback to the EMA, makes it worth considering. There's enough room to almost scalp out before you get back up here. You probably really want to be on your toes, and you might have got shaken out on this bar right here. But that would have been okay. You can't always get the whole move, so again, I'm changing that one to green. Probably should have made it green in the first place. But now, guess what? You've got a new high. You got your first new high. You've got these two legs. This leg is really two legs that consist of one leg that are bigger than this one. So then, measure this one, pull it up here, and look for that to be a target, and it was to the tick. Then you get a double top. You've got an overshoot of the trend channel. You had your first entry. Again, they're a lot more risky. Better to wait on the second entry. And so you get a second entry short right there. And again, it takes it a few minutes to work on down too. And look what happens. We're trending down the rest of the day. So, pretty much my gut instinct that this channel was it with the break and the move to a new high and the little channel going up here. It all worked out exactly kind of like what you expect. And again, I got a lot of questions about when do you exit? How do you know when the top is done? Well, do not guess. If you're not sure, what's the rule? If you're not sure what's going on, that means you're not understanding the price action. You're not able to read it, and if you can't understand the price action, if you don't know what's going on, you never enter a trade, because that's gambling. You're just taking a chance, and we don't want to gamble. We only want to enter a trade when we are confident that we know what's going on. And right in here, there's no way you can be too confident about what's going on to the short side for sure. And really all this is too is a breakout pullback. There's your previous highs, and look at that. You get a double bottom right here. You can see back over to the left. That's a perfect double bottom retest, and when the market tests something twice, or whenever the market does something twice and fails, it's likely to succeed in going much further in the other direction. And the rule holds up perfectly there. We tested that line, that breakout pullback twice, failed in reverse, so that was another reason to think going long there. And even if you didn't think about trying to find a measure move, it's a good reason to go long, and you probably would have wanted to exit right in here. But sometimes you might want to hang on and just see, because you could have got another point or two out of it. But generally, I usually exit right around these trend channel lines, because if you get greedy and you try to milk every tick or every point out of it, most of the time it's just going to cost you a whole lot of money. So, once you've made your fair share, be happy with it and move on. And then you can always look for another entry. Then you've got a nice setup right here for a short. If you missed it, there was I didn't mark this one, but it's there. This is a breakout pullback. We broke, and it's really another, it can almost be a second entry from that low. There's your first entry, then your second entry. And off it goes lower. You probably would have had to ride this all out, but as long as you kept your stop here, you were fine. And you might have exited. You probably should have drawn your line right here. And you may not have entered, because if you did draw that line and you pulled it up to right here, we didn't get back to that yet. But we're looking for prices to come to this other side after the new high, the retest, the reversal pattern up here, the overshoot. Lots of reasons that we were looking for this to come back to at least here. And my guess was that it was going to be a reversal for the rest of the day, and that's exactly what happened. So yeah, there was another short setup right here. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to mark it in green, because it's not a perfect setup, but it's a pretty good setup. So still lots of room to go down. So I marked it anyway. I mean, you're able to get in that with a very small stop, and the odds are on your side that we're coming down because of all the reasons we discussed about this reversal up here. So, and that was pretty much it. It was too late in the day, really, and this really starting to get into overlap by the time you get over here. We continued on down, but just by the time you get over here, there weren't any more setups in here, and then by the time you get over here and start working off the trend line, it's almost too late. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, hope you had a good trading day, and remember about the YouTube channel. Again, if you get confused or can't find it under Pat's Trading, I apologize, but just look under Ken Mack. But if you're subscribed to us, you should still get an email, and if it says Ken Mack though instead of Pat's Trading, you'll know why. And if I can get it changed back, I will, but I don't think it's that big a deal as long as everybody understands what's going on. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.